Okay, is this ready to go? Yep, recording. All right, let's see, where do I want to stand? This is my mic thing. Okay, hello everyone. I've decided to set the camera up here because I like that tree that is right there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but this is the tree that I like. I think it's beautiful. It's yellow. The leaves are turning. We just passed peak color. Anyways, I got to get going. We got 10 to 15 minutes to do this thing. I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We're at 231 subscribers right now. It feels great. I'm hoping that as long as this is going to go, I can keep helping you to become a better writer, to become a better reader, whatever, better thinker, speaker, whatever. That's what these videos are for. So we are once again going through a paragraph in chapter 5 of Walter Isaacson's biography on Leonardo, titled Leonardo's Notebooks. I just crunched the paper, so that's probably not going too well sound-wise. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It does matter. That's not what I meant. Anyways, a paragraph. So last time, where did we leave off? We left off talking about the bullet journal that swung from Leonardo's belt as he walked around town, because Leonardo had Commonplace books, he had codexes, which Bill Gates purchased for $30 million, but he had Commonplace books. But he also carried journals with him when he was going around town being Florence, Italy, just like, any other town Florence is. Anyways, so he carried a little bullet journal around, and he would write down his impressions and I don't know, what have you. So we left off, he was always carrying this journal along his belt. I'm going to read the next paragraph because it's important, because it gets at what it means to be a polymath. It gets at why keeping a bullet journal and a Commonplace book can be helpful, and that's what I want. I'm sure all of you know what a Commonplace book is, know what a bullet journal is, but there's a difference between knowing what it is, knowing what a thing is, and knowing how to create an optimized version of that thing, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm trying to do. I want you to get the most out of writing. I want you to get the most out of writing. I want you to get the most out of writing. So that's the goal. I'm going to read the paragraph now. It's a longer one. I think I'm going to go through it and then break it down sentence by sentence. That's kind of the gist of it, or the short overview. So anyways, here we go. These little books on his belt, along with larger sheets in his studio, became repositories for all of his manifold passions and obsessions, many of them sharing a page. As an engineer, he honed his technical skills by drawing mechanisms he encountered or imagined. As an artist, he sketched ideas and made preparatory drawings. As a court impresario, he jotted down designs for costumes, contrivances for moving scenery and stages, fables to be enacted, and witty lines to be performed. Scribbled in the margins were to-do lists, records of expenses, and sketches of people who caught his imagination. Over the years, as his scientific study got more serious, he filled pages with outlines and passages for treatises on topics such as flight, water, anatomy, art, horses, mechanics, and geology. About the only things missing are intimate personal revelations, or intimacies. These are not St. Augustine's confessions, but rather the outward-looking enthrallments of a relentlessly curious explorer. A car just drove by. I hope it didn't pollute the audio too badly. But the point is, Leonardo wrote about all kinds of things in these books, and it's important, I think, that you hear that, because I had a common, what am I saying? I had somebody who said recently, shout out Riddled, I think. Sorry, I didn't review the comment. I wasn't planning on talking about it, but now I'm talking about it. I had a commenter recently say that they realized that what was missing from their Commonplace book was them. And that's worth understanding, something personal. Now, Leonardo's books, there's a line in the sand between the overly personal and the personally useful, okay? Understand that distinction. If you don't understand it, if you have questions about it, hit me up in the comments. I'm always going to be in the comments. I crush the comments. I will type you paragraphs in the comments. But anyways, we have to keep moving because I'm on a crunch. I'm crunched for time. So what do we have? We're already more than halfway through. Not good. Okay, so these little books on his belt, along with the larger sheets in his studio, became repositories. That's an important word, repository, for all of his manifold passions and obsessions, many of them sharing a page. Every person has multiple passions. Every person has many passions. The idea, though, is that you can use writing to you can use writing not only to identify what the plethora of your passions are or is, but to figure out what the meeting ground for all of them is. Which is to say how you synthesize them into something that is personally useful to you. For those of you who know him, Naval, N-A-V-A-L, you should look him up. He's great. I love him. And I think this is from Scott Adams, actually. So it was Scott Adams saying something, and then Naval saying something about what he said. The idea is that if you have, if you're an expert in 5 fields, then you're in whatever. You're in like the top 5%. It's something like if you can identify your passions across enough fields, or a certain number, it's not too high, but eventually if you can identify them and synthesize them, that you put yourself in a better position to be successful, whether it's entrepreneurially or, I don't know, personally, professionally, academically, whatever it might be, by stitching together what your interests are and being able to objectively analyze them and kind of work with them, you just put yourself in a better position to be successful. And that's important relative to what I'm talking about today, because we're talking about commonplace books. We're talking about bullet journals. So his manifold passions and obsessions, many of them sharing a page. Leonardo didn't distinguish between what belongs on this page and what belongs on the next page. It was all on the same page. He just threw it on there and let it simmer. And I think that that's useful, understanding that he did that, because when we realize that the greatest thinker in the history of Western culture, at least one of them, that's how he wrote. It's valuable because it's not, at least in my case, it's not how I'm used to thinking about what writing should be, So when you keep a commonplace book, when you keep a bullet journal, throw out the idea that everything has to be kind of coherent. It can be messy. But the point is, if it is messy, you go back to it, you return to it, you analyze it, and you try to find the connective tissue, okay? And that's all I'll say. The connective tissue that kind of, I'll go on because I need to keep moving. So as an engineer, he honed his technical skills by drawing mechanisms he encountered or imagined. As an artist, he sketched ideas and made preparatory drawings. As a court impresario, which I think that's just like a court jester, somebody who performed for royalty. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but please be nice, because I don't know what I don't know, and I'm doing my best. So anyways, as a court impresario, he jotted down designs for costumes, contrivances for moving scenery and stages, fables to be enacted, and witty lines to be performed. Okay, so we have engineer, artist, court impresario. We have 3 different kind of classes of work, let's say, but Leonardo was just one person. Okay, so that's interesting. Fun fact that just came to mind right now, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So when we talk about Leonardo as an engineer, an artist, and a court impresario, and how his commonplace book was working to help him, navigate the space between those 3, what would you say, career classifications, to use a 21st century term, it's important to understand that there is value in kind of spreading yourself out and kind of touching in, or having a part in different categories. I don't know. I can't think of the right way to say it, but basically what I mean is diversifying the ways in which you're making money. A commonplace book can be helpful for that. If you want to make money, if you want to be successful, academically, professionally, whatever it might be, commonplace book is useful because it it's you giving physical form to your thoughts. It allows you to reflect on them, to analyze them, to figure out how they fit together, and to put a plan together so that you can make the most out of, the things that you're interested in. So we have these three things: engineer, artist, court impresario. And they, while they are three kind of distinct categories, they're really not, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, maybe it does. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm just trying to give you, the best I can give you right now. So the point is that, these classifications, artist, engineer, those are great examples. They're not as different as we might think. And if you give time to your Commonplace book, your bullet journal, your journal, whatever, I think you'll find that. I think you'll find that your interests kind of, while they might be different, they're still filtered through you. They're still connected to you. So I would encourage you to explore your interests, to figure out how these different parts of your personality fit together in your Commonplace book. I hope that makes sense, but I have to keep going. Scribbled in the margins were to-do lists, records of expenses, and sketches of people who caught his imagination over the years as his scientific, that's a new word for this paragraph, scientist. As his scientific study got more serious, he filled pages with outlines and passages for treatises on topics such as flight, water, anatomy, art, horses, mechanics, and geology. So he's all over the place. But we need to not think of Leonardo's being all over the place as being all over the place, because it is still focused insofar as what he was writing pertained to his interests. And that is really what I think matters. Write about what interests you. That's how you become a better writer, a better thinker, a better speaker, by writing about what interests you. So whether, don't let these different classifications cloud your vision. Follow your passions, follow your interests, and follow them ruthlessly. And that's how they pay off. People say, oh, follow your passions, follow your dreams, and whatever, life figures itself out. That's kind of true. But you're going to have to work very hard if you want to make your passions work. So that's my advice to you. I got to wrap this up. 2 more sentences. Let's do this thing. Let's close it out. About the only things missing are intimate personal revelations or intimacies. I'm willing to bet this, that Leonardo probably had a diary that he just hid away from everybody. And rightly so, because he was an intelligent thinker. I don't want you reading my diary. I'm not leaving that around after I die. That is going to be burned. I will burn it. I will make sure that wherever my personal writings are that pertain to my personal life, I will make sure that they do not exist after I'm dead. But anyways, let's go. Last line. These are not St. Augustine's confessions, but rather the outward-looking enthrallments of a relentlessly curious explorer. Those are the words that I want to leave you with. Relentlessly curious explorer. Every time you sit down, this is what should be kind of getting you juiced up to do the act. Think of yourself as a relentlessly curious explorer. You're doing something that is useful. You're exploring your interests. You're giving physical form to your thoughts using the written word, and you're analyzing them. Okay? And that is of value, because when you analyze them, you actually put yourself in a better position to do what only you can do, to use your interests to do what only you can do. And that goes back to the Naval Scott Adams thing I mentioned. I don't know how controversial they are. I don't pay attention to stuff like that. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. My point is just that if you think of 5 interests that you have, okay? If you weave those 5 interests together, you're basically in, a significantly upper percentile for whatever the field is. You put yourself in a position where you can do what very few others can do, and that's important to realize. You're a relentlessly curious explorer. If you've stumbled across this video, odds are you're that. And I think it's just a way, if nothing else, it's just a way of kind of informing the habit of going to the page, of going to the blank page. So don't worry about being neat, don't worry about being clean. Just put your interests on the page, whether they're drawings or writings, whatever they might be. Just do the work, but return to it. Because if you don't return to it, you're going to forget what's there. If you return to it, you return with a new mind, a new analytical mind. And what that means is you're going to learn something from ideas that you wrote down in the past. And that's why writing is powerful. So I got to wrap it up. Before I go, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for giving some of your time and attention to this channel. 231 subscribers. I am so grateful. If you have any questions about how to be a better writer, I'll talk to you the same way I talk to my students. Talk to my students at Johns Hopkins University back when I was teaching classes all those months ago. But yeah, I want to help you. I want to help you do better. So hit me up in those comments, and I appreciate you watching. I'm trying to think of other things to say. My voice keeps cracking now because I've just been going. But yeah, I'm just grateful for the time you've given to this channel. We're growing, and it feels great. And I'm just ready to turn it up a notch. So let's do this thing. Let's make you better, and let's get it done. So if nothing else, say hi in the comments. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.